and I've been using it faithfully since then. It's been great. Transmissions run smoother. And the red is a little bit of a help if you get a leak. What was it about the Bel-Ray Gear Saver? What was it about that made you want to go get that?
Well, I started using that over any kind of a standard 85 140 or 85 150 or even a 90 gear grease, because it doesn't break down quite as badly.
Okay.
It's a good high quality gear lube. It sticks to your gears where some of the others don't. When you get in a high temperature, as I think I've said many times and most folks know, I ride in high temperatures, extreme conditions in the desert, 110, 100 degrees plus, and anything above 90 is considered extreme. So that's why I like it.
And there were some other things that you turned me on to here. You're a big fan of the. Go ahead. Let's talk about this stuff.
The primary chain case lubricant. This stuff is a mystery. This ought to be on the Magical Mystery Motorcycle Motorcycle Secrets, because this is something that I've put in my chain case ever since I got my Evolution motor with the wet clutch. Is the Harley-Davidson. It's the only Harley-Davidson fluid that I use.
That is bizarre. It's the only one I use.
It's because I can't figure out what the hell is in it that makes these clutches hold up so well.
Yeah.
I've got an original clutch pack, 140,000 miles, and it was running fine when I took it all apart.
Well, the interesting thing about a lot of the products that you've mentioned here is that in tearing these bikes apart, and we had Scott Yamasaki on the other day, was that there was actually very little wear on a lot of this stuff that he's torn apart, and I got to attribute that to the fluids that we're putting in these bikes.
Well, and the fact that we keep them fresh.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing. The number one thing, folks, keep your fluids fresh. Change that oil. It's the cheapest insurance you can buy.
Now let's talk about that oil, man. There's some stuff that you love right there, man.
Here we have.
This is not the racing stuff.
Here we have the infamous Valvoline 2050. And although it's not racing oil, I do have it on good authority that this stuff does not wash off very easily. So we'll let it go at that. I've got
wash off of what?
One's skin, you might say.
Oh, I see. So if you needed lubrication of a skin nature, this stuff would obviously be the stuff to use if the 7-Eleven wasn't open. Maybe. So let's go ahead with it. I've been using Valvoline 2050. I use racing oil. Yeah.
This is Valvoline's newly developed in the last couple of years formula for motorcycles, for air-cooled motors.
Just hold that still for a sec. We'll zoom in on that and we'll let people take a look at it right here. That's what it looks like, folks. Now, it is hard to find. I got this at Checker, and what I do is when I find it at Checker, I usually buy a case of it. And they'll have these sales at Checkers where they're selling like car oil, and it's like $5 for a case of oil or something. Well, you get the motorcycle oil, and they'll sell it to you for the same price. Well, it's a smoking deal.
Well, it is, because if you're going to use a synthetic now, Scott Yamasaki recommends a synthetic for the Evo motors, for the twin cam motors, whatever. He's running synthetics, Mobil 1, and things of that nature. I have always stayed with fossil oil. I'm going to try the synthetics this year just to see how it goes and see how it works. The truth is in when you drain it after it has 2,500 miles on it. What does it look like? Feel of it. See if there's anything in it. Do you feel any grit? What color is it? It's a nice caramel color, and instead of this black sludge that sort of rolls out of your motor like the knuckleheads used to do.
So
there you have motor oil. Very important. Wonderful product from Valvoline.
So we got all the stuff here to do our job. This is an important part of the gig here, is just getting all your stuff in a pile so you're not running to the store halfway through the deal on Sunday. I got another one of the regular stuff. I don't know how that one got in there. There's your filter.
All right, let me tell you about these filters, folks. You want to make sure you buy a filter for a motorcycle. Now, you can get a Fram oil filter that's this size.
Yep.
And it probably would work for an Evolution motor without a lot of problem. I wouldn't use it. There really is finer filtering in these than you get with a Fram. I don't even know what you call it, but the filtering on the inside does catch smaller products. Now, you cannot interchange the filter from an Evolution motor to a twin cam motor. They are different filters.
Which is why I do. Look what I did on the box. Did you notice that too? Keep turning that box. There you go. When I pulled it off the shelf at the dealer, I said, give me a marker. And I wrote the word Evo on there.
There you have the happy
there
label.
You go, man.
That's right.
And that way you won't forget if you have more than one bike. And if you do, good for you in this shitty economy. But if you got more than one bike, that way you won't forget what it's for, you know?
And there's a little information on the side of the carton. Tell you a little bit about the filter and you know, what the advantages are.
That thing does not say for an Evo motor on it, though, anywhere. Look at the box.
No, but it's a part number.
Yeah, it's a part number, so you'd have to know what the part number was,
right.
What I'm saying.
That's right. Or the guy that's selling it to you has to know what
well,
the part number is.
sometimes they don't know that, but you never know.
But this will save your bacon, folks.
Yep.
Get this in there. Keep them fresh. I go 2,500 to 3,000 miles still. They recommend you can push, especially using synthetics, you can go to 5,000 miles. I'm not about to do it.
Yeah.
Especially, again, in the conditions that I ride in.
Yeah.
When you're riding and you're constantly out there and it's 100 degrees, you are hammering every drop of oil that's in that bike. And according to PhD Reg Steve Ruby, that synthetic, as long as you got a good filter, that synthetic is going to continue to fight for your motor even in extreme temperatures. So with that, I'm ready to get busy. What do you think?
Let's tell them about that one strange bottle all the way back.
Oh, the red one here.
The red, the strain. Now, this should put us on the mystery show right here.
This should be on the Magical
Hold it
Mystery
still there.
Marvel Motorcycle Secrets program.
Yep.
Okay? I want to know, Warren, where you heard about this and what you were told.
Well, I heard this from a guy who said he was a PhD wrench, but I'm not so sure about it. I'd rather not mention his name, but you knew him as the Indian.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
And he came up to me one day and said, "Hey, are you using Marvel?" In his inimitable voice. Are you using Marvel Mystery Oil? And I said, "No, I'm not." And he goes, "Well, here's what you got to do. Your bike will run like a champ. Just put a shot glass of this in the tank when you fill up, and put a shot glass in the oil when you put the oil in." Now, when Scott tore my motor apart at 100,000 miles, and I did this pretty religiously, what he said was, There's nothing really wrong with this motor. It's just got some normal wear and tear, but nothing extreme.
Well,
your thoughts?
My thoughts are this, okay? I've never used this in anything that I've run ever.
Okay.
Okay? I don't think it's going to hurt anything.
Yeah.
I question the value of it.
Okay.
I don't know if you're wasting your time or your money with it or not. I certainly don't think it's going to hurt.
Yep.
My motor went 100,000 miles. We tore it apart. I was there.
Same diff. Same thing. Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong. Valve springs were a little weak. Rings needed a little work.
Yeah.
But I had been riding hard, heavy miles with it, hitting it hard, riding 100 miles an hour through extreme heat.
Yep.
With some fast takeoffs and everything of that nature, riding in a pack.
Yep.
And I'm not surprised it had that kind of wear. But as far as cylinder walls, gears, main bearings,
all good.
rod bearings, all good.
All good.
So you can do this if you believe in it, and there's certainly nothing wrong with it, and we'll do it today.
Yep.
But personally, I've never done it. I'm not going to talk against it.
All right, let's get rocking.
I'm ready to go.
This is Warren. Now, before we get started, there's some things you need to think about. Number one, even though these are relatively simple tasks, if you're not up to it, if your mechanical capabilities are not up to these, then don't do them. If you feel uncomfortable with something you're doing with your bike, don't do it or seek out the advice of an expert. You got to have that book next to you that tells you everything you're going to need to do a spring sort of fluid change. And once again, if you don't feel comfortable with it, if it's not your cup of tea, there's nothing that makes you less of a tough dude if you don't feel comfortable working on certain parts of your bike. So with that in mind, this sort of maintenance work is stuff Trash and I sort of do second nature. I mean, I just get out there and go, okay, it's time to change this. Okay, let's change some of that. We're pretty used to doing it. I almost like have an internal time clock that tells me, oh, it's time for an oil change, in this bike or that bike, So that's the deal. If you feel good about it, you got the book, you got the tools, go for it. I think you'll find that working on bikes is at some strange level one of the most rewarding experiences you can have. Don't know exactly why, but it's turned out that way for me. So anyway, that being said, let's start tearing into this baby and see what we can make happen.